Hello everyone, this is Steve with Goobed Up Games, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to create characters, objects, and enemies on BuildBox 3 and how to make them work with each other correctly in your video games. For this video, I'm going to be using BuildBox 3 version 3.3.4, which is the most recent version. And in there, what you're going to want to do is go to create new project. And we're going to be doing a 3D project. So you'll click create 3D world. And then you'll get this basic mind map here, which starts you out with the start node and your 3D world. And in your 3D world, you're going to start with the basic object, which is the cube, which we are going to use as our character. So first we're going to go over here and we're going to move the cube up into the character slot and give the cube a name. And I'm going to name him Steve. We're going to put Steve in character collision group, and then under Steve's model, let's give him some color. I'm going to go with orange. It's a good autumn Halloweenish color. Okay, and under his physics, as I've said before in other videos, with characters and creatures and things like that, they're going to have a lot of movement or options like jumping and things like that. You're going to want to use dynamic physics, which allows it to interact with things, with other objects. And for this game, we're going to use all assets as the affected assets, where Steve can interact with anything that's going on. And then let's see how this starts out playing out. Alright, so as you can see, the character starts by default in a position where it falls and then hits the ground and bounces around a little bit. And I don't like that, so because I want it to start on the ground, and also I don't like the size of the character, so we're going to change that too. So what we're going to do first, we're going to change the starting position of the character on the Y position, and by default the character starts out at 2, which is a little too high. We're going to go down to 1, and then let's change the size. I want it about half that size, so we're going to do 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And then we come back to the problem we had before. It's starting out in the air, so we want to change the Y position to 0.5 also for this character. And voila. The character starting out on the ground and in position, not falling, bouncing around, and he's smaller. Next, we want to add movement. So to do that, we're going to go over to Steve and go into the character's mind map, which you have your basic start node, which tells the game where the character is going to start and how it's going to start, and then your basic node for the 3D model and what the character is going to look like when it starts. And so we're going to go to movement, basic move node. We're going to connect it and enable it once it starts to where Steve can move. So by default, the move node starts in the Z position at 1.5 positive. So let's see how that works here. Now as you can see, that doesn't work. Steve is moving backwards. So what we're going to want to do is go back over to Steve's brain box go to the movement. We want it about the same speed, but we want it doing the opposite of that. So we're going to do a negative 1.5 for the Z position. And then let's see how that goes. And as you can see now, Steve's moving in the correct direction. But the problem we face now is that eventually he's going to move out of camera range and get away. We're not going to see Steve anymore. So the way we fix that is I'm going to go to camera mode. And depending on what kind of game that you're going to be making, you'll have the camera follow in different positions, but for this game we're going to follow the game path because Steve is going to be in a fixed position where he's constantly going the same direction, so we want to follow the path. And then let's see how that goes. Alright, so now I have the camera following Steve, but the camera only goes until the level ends, and then Steve still gets away. So the way we fix that is we're going to go down here to the level and we're going to duplicate the same level. Let's do it 2 times. And we want to name this one level 1. Let's name this one level 2. And then let's click play. Okay, so we have Steve going constantly in the same position, but the problem is we did not delete the characters from the other scenes, and when you duplicate a scene, you have to delete the characters for every scene after that, or you get what you see right here. It'll replace a character in every scene. So let's go back and do that. Let's go down to scene 1, delete. Scene 2, delete. And now we have a nice smooth run for Steve to constantly run down on. Alright, so now we want to add a platform, something that'll look just like a road or something, or a path for Steve to follow. So let's exit out of here. I'm going to go up here to the asset library, and I'm going to pick another basic cube. Alright, and for a cube, I'm going to name it road, or no, let's name it path. And under collision group, I'm going to put it under platform. Let's give it a little color. I'm going to go with like a brown, a bit darker. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and then for physics, we're going to give it static, where static is what you would use for, say, floors, walls, ceilings, roofs, things like that, things that aren't going to move but you can use to jump on or run on and so forth. So we're going to take block out here, put it in position 0 all around. And then I want to scale it down just about flat. I'm going to say it about right there. I'm going to stretch it out. Stretch that out there. And let's see how that goes. I'm going to push play. And now the character has a road to go down on, but the road is still only a stretch of the starting level, and we want to add it to the first and second levels to make it go on infinitely. And also, if you notice, Steve still has a little bit of a rotation problem when it hits the ground. And so let's fix that too. Let's exit out of here. Let's go in here and let's go ahead and delete these 2 levels. Yes, yes. Let's duplicate this again. One, delete the character, and 2, and delete the character. And then let's go back up to Steve. And under the rotation factor, we don't want to rotate at all, so we're going to do 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to push play. Also on this, we're going to use, under edit, we're going to use randomized scenes, which instead of it going straight from start and then doing scene 1, scene 2, and it's over with, it's going to keep a shuffle of these scenes going so that it helps it go infinitely. So make sure that's on. And there we have it. Characters going straight down on an infinite road. Alright, so next we want to add movement, because what I want to do is have it to where Steve can move side to side. So we're going to exit out of here. Now what's cool about BuildBox 3 is that they took a lot of work out for developers and to make things quicker and a little bit easier when they've added these brain boxes, which are basically a lot of the coding and a lot of the nodes put together for you that have certain purposes that are used in a lot of games. And what we want to do is add movement to our character to move side by side when we touch the screen on our phone. And they've already got that set up down here, so we're going to click on that. And then we're going to click play. Alright, and so our character can move side to side, but it's a little glitchy by default, not real smooth the way we like it. And we have this problem where he's going off the screen. So to fix that, we're going to exit out of here. I'm going to go to the character's mind map. I'm going to go to the touch move. I'm going to change the smoothness to a 1. Leave sensitivity the same. And then we're going to add an action. We're going to limit how far left and right the character can move. And with that, you'd use a position limiter node. Connect that to the start. And then from here, we're going to go back to the 3D world. Now, you can make changes to your position limiter in the 3D world over here, so you don't have to go back and forth. So let's click play and see how that looks. Alright, so now we should have a limit. The limits are left and right. Doesn't go off the road anymore. I like that amount limit, but he's not moving forward anymore either. So the way we'll fix that is exit out of here. Go down to the position limiter, and we're going to go to the Z, which is by default set at -1, but we wanted to keep going and going and going. So we're just going to make it -1,000,000. 2, 3. Yeah, that sounds good. And if we wanted to make the road just a little bit bigger, do that. change what it can move side to side to -2 and a +2. Alright, and let's see how that does. Well, first let's make changes in the road over here. Let's see, what do we got up here? We're just going to do 3, 0, 0.1. Whoops. And we'll say 4.5. I'm going to do that all the way around. 3, 4.5, 3, 4.5. Alright, and then let's push play. Alright, so we have a nice little movement side to side. It's a little bit slower than what I like, but I'm going to leave it as it is because this is going to do just fine for what I need it for. You can always, depending on what kind of game you're making, you can always change speeds and position limits and things like that. But this is going to work out great. Alright, so next we are going to create objects that the character can interact with, touch, move, jump on, whatnot. Alright, so first we're going to X out of here. We'll go up to the asset library again, and we're going to select cube again, and we're going to name this cube object. Collision type, we're just going to keep it under platform. Let's give it a little bit of color. Let's make it yellow. This is all going to end up looking like a candy corn when I get done with it. Alright. And then under physics, we're going to stick with dynamic because we want it to kind of move around when they fall and so forth and interact with the platform. So we'll keep it at dynamic. Affected assets. We're going to choose the character. Alright, and then let's go back over here. Let's go to level 1. And let's pull it into our world. Sorry. Alright, and again, I don't like the size of that, so we're going to knock it down half the size. And we're going to change its position to, there we go. Alright. And then we want to, let's see, press W and make a duplicate of it. Let's stack a few up here. That'll work. Let's do one more. Alright. That will work. Alright. And then over on section 2, let's bring one out. Maybe put it here. And do the same thing. Change the size. Change its Y position. Alright. And then let's make a few copies of it. Let's make this one a little bit bigger. So what I want to do here, let's take the path, lock it into place. Lock the ground in place. So I can select all the objects at once. And then let's make a copy of them like this. Move it over. That looks good. Alright. And then let's click play and see what happens here. Alright, okay, so what we see here is the beginning of the game. The objects are falling through the floor. Now I know what happened here. So what we need to do is exit out of here. Let's go back over to the object. Yeah. Affected asset. Yeah, I shouldn't have made that character. I don't know what I was thinking. Make it all so that way it actually interacts with platforms too. Keep it from falling through. And then let's play. And there we go. The objects aren't falling through the floor anymore. Just move side to side and we can move the objects. That's pretty cool there. I can think about 20 games right off the top of my head that I could create with just this right here. But alright, so now we have that working. Next we're going to create an enemy that when it comes in contact with Steve, Steve's going to blow up. Alright, so let's exit out of here. Alright, so we're going to go up to the asset library again, click a shape. There's a shape for our enemy. Do a cone. Go over here. I'm going to name it enemy. Under collision group, we're going to put it in the enemy collision group. Then we're going to give it some color. I'd say go with some green. Kind of like a witch's face color. Yeah. There we go. Looks good. Alright. And over here, since this is going to be an object that's not going to move, we're going to make it kinematic. And we're going to make it where it only hurts the character. Alright. And then we're going to go over here. Let's go to scene 1. And add one in there. Looks perfect right there. Let's go to scene 2. Add one in over there. Or maybe a little bit further back. Looks good right there. Alright, and after that we're going to want to make it to where the character is hurt when it touches the enemy. So we're going to go back over to Steve's mind map. And under actions, we're going to click if collide node. I'm going to plug that up. Get it down here. Alright, so here's where you choose what happens when it collides with something. So over here on affected asset, when Steve collides with an enemy, what comes next will happen. And what comes next is we want him to explode. So you'll get the debris explosion nodes already made for you. After the collision, Steve will explode. Alright, the amount of debris that is going to explode into, we're going to lower it to about 10. And then we have to click what he explodes into. So with that, we're going to go back to the 3D world. We're going to go to the asset library, click a cube. And under this cube, we're going to name it debris. This is what you'll see after the character explodes. We're going, it doesn't need, we'll just list it. Let's platform, that's fine. And we'll leave it at the color that it is. And we're going to give it dynamic physics so that after the explosion, it will interact with the ground and so forth. And then over here, let's go back to Steve's mind map. And right here under asset, when Steve explodes, he will turn into debris. Alright. And we will save that. Alright, over here, you'll want to click check off inherit color. What that means is whatever the debris is that the character is going to turn into, it will turn into the same color as the character was before it exploded. You can cut that off if you want it to look like something else, say like if you want it to turn into red blotch or this and that, but we're just going to leave it the same right there. Okay, and then let's click play and see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, the collision works out good, but it's a little glitchy, and Steve keeps going. That's what I call a ghost figure, where he's not affected by anything anymore. So what we're going to do to fix that, I'm going to go back up to Steve's mind map, and here we'll go down to advanced nodes, and what we want to happen is after the collision you'll use a delay mode, which will delay what happens next. Here we're gonna, by default it's a half a second. I want like a tenth of a second. I want it to be real fast, so a tenth of a second after collision, Steve will be removed from the game. There. Okay, so we're going to go back out here and click play and see how that goes. Alright, so now Steve should disappear on collision. The enemy. Alright. So here's the problem that we have here. It's taken too long for Steve to disappear and collide because I have the delay mode node hooked up wrong. Node. Alright, so we're going to exit out of here. Going to go back up to Steve's mind map. Going to go to the delay, and we're going to do after the explosion. He disappears. Alright. Let's go back to 3D world. Let's push play. And see what happens. Alright. Try that again. Alright, and it seems to be working out. Yep, works out great. Alright, and there you have it. The basics of making a character, objects to interact with the character, and an enemy that will kill the character. There we go. Now, just want to make this a little bit faster. So I'm going to go up to Steve one more time. We're going to go to smooth node. Oh, what is this? Alright. And let's increase the speed by, say, let's double it. Let's just do -3. Let's go back here. Let's push play. Alright. And everything seems to be going smooth. It's going a little faster. Everything's working together. Alright. Well, that about does it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please click like and subscribe down at the bottom for future videos. Later I'll be going over how to create a game and how to create characters that have jump abilities and other things like that. So I'm really looking forward into doing that. And as always, have fun boxing.